Number one, when we were growing up in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s, 90s, we had opportunity to be introduced to what they call real history. It may not be 100% of what we should know, but my generation got the better part of our history. Then we had what we call current affairs, whereby they ask us different resources based on region, based on states, even to outside Nigeria. Back then, I realized that Ghana was and is still known for gold, even though what Ghana looked like, I couldn't even fathom. And a lot of other things. A lot of other African countries with their resources. Unfortunately, what parents are paying today to send their children to school cannot be commensurate with the garbage that they teach them. Number two, it is high time that we realize that the battle we are fighting in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, if we don't know the enemy, we are only going to be shooting at the wrong direction. And I think it is high time that I said this. If some of my videos will be the reason why I will not be allowed to continue to stay in these countries, so be it. I would rather stand up and be a voice for the coming generation than to stand aside and continue to do things that will destroy the lives of the coming generation even before their arrival. What do I mean? I think it is better to lecture one another on this. Number one, what happened in Libya? Gaddafi was taken out. And look at what Libya has become. Take, for instance, Sankara of Burkina Faso. Back then, he was taken out. Number three, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. We know what happened to him. When you go all the way to Tanzania, Magufuli was also one dealt with. When you go to Mozambique, Samora was their own person that was taken out. Currently, Burkina Faso is having his own again in the person of this young military guy, Traoré. What is a common thing, at least to mention but a few, what is a common factor that binds these people together? They stood up for their countries, they stood up for Africa, they stood up for the liberation, true liberation of African continent, but they took them out. Now, Traoré has survived 6 coups d'etat already. And there is one question we are now asking. Who are the ones masterminding the taking out of this guy who is giving Burkina Faso one of the fastest growing economies in the world? Currently, the guy has sent 5,000 Burkina Faso citizens all the way to Wuhan in China to go and learn about technology. Now, my first question is, African Union, what is your importance? What are your responsibilities? Organization of African Unity, what do you stand to represent? What are your primary roles? ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States, what exactly are your responsibilities? Then we'll go to United Nations. All the members, all the leaders, all the delegates in these bodies that I've mentioned, including the African leaders that are in support of what you guys are doing to make sure that African continent totally becomes a source of raw materials to the West and to Europe. I'm going to be as cool as possible in this video. But if I say that I'm not moved to tears, then I'll be a liar. Europe and the Western world, there is a message I should pass across to you guys. I have seen series of protests and everywhere in Europe, in America, everywhere. And the same song being sung is that asylum seekers should go back to their countries. Blacks generally should go back to their countries. We're not going to say we're not going back. After all, this place is just cool. It is not our places of dwelling. But there is one thing that I know might happen for sure, that willingly many true Africans would respectfully drop your papers, they drop their passports and go back home. But when that time comes, we're going to be standing up in such a way that we will be ready to fight, even with the last drop of blood in our veins, to make sure that even the military bases that you good for nothing wicked souls have established all over and all around African countries are removed and sent back to you. Because I don't know what US military base is going to be doing or what they are doing in Ghana. They don't even use passport, they only use ID card, and they can come in and leave anytime, any day they wish. Who does that? Your arrogance makes me want to vomit. And that is how you have done in all over African countries. Now your wickedness, I refer to you as being wicked, Europe and Western world. Because if you truly need the resources that we have in Africa, we are not going to say that you can't have access to them if you follow the right channel. Unfortunately, what do? You create chaos. You strike deal with our leaders. You actually impose our leaders on us, all in the name of democracy. But the last time I checked, Africans need to know this, that American Revolution didn't come peacefully. European Revolution didn't come peacefully. And this time is for Africa. Don't ever think as an African that it's going to come on a platter of gold. There will be a fight to break out. Why is Cote d'Ivoire allowing the warship to be dunked in their backyard in readiness for war? Nigerians, Africans are sleeping, wasting away time on social media. I call you wicked because you go to African countries, you exploit, you steal, you destroy our environment. But the first thing we learn when we come to your countries is environmental sustainability, how you maintain things. But when you go to African countries, it is a different ball game entirely. Look at the lives of the children in Africa, most especially Congo. And you use your multinational companies to face for you, and they do the way they like. There is no accountability. You allow our leaders to steal the money they borrow from IMF and World Bank, and they steal the money back they bring to your countries. You do not ask them questions because these are deliberate policies to make sure that we keep hungry. Yet Bill Gates is going to be doing his business in Africa in such a way that we're not going to have access to seed again. How far do you think you want to push us as Africans before we turn our backs, before we turn up, before we do what? We face the music? Alpha, I am asking you, European Union, I'm asking the Western world, how far do you think you can push us? I won't say much more than this for now. Goodbye and God bless.